Okay, so here's a very short video today about the my heritage soft-tail panniers, which are these. What I've done is I had some serious sagging in the side of the leather, so what I've done is opened them up, took them off the bike, opened them and filled them with water from the hose pipe, literally just filled them up, and then when they've softened up after about 10 minutes of soaking and splashing around, I've jammed in as much bubble wrap as I possibly could in there, forced it all into the sides where it's pushed out the sides of the panniers, and you can see there's quite a nice shape there now. The leather had softened up from being wet like your shoes do, and so in both cases you can see there's still a bit there, but it's not as bad as it was at all. And now it's a case of watch this space, and I'm leaving them to dry naturally. You can see there's quite a good shape now, whereas before that was all caved in. So let's have I'll get back to you in a week or so's time, so you can see. Hopefully it won't go. Sorry about the aeroplane there. Good timing. Anywho, there we are, so you can see what's going on, and I'll get back to you as I get some results. They do seem to be hardening up now as they're drying out, and it's quite a dull day, as you saw, or a dull week or so we've had, but you can see these are hardening up as the water evaporates. I have to get them off again or emptied before they go mouldy, so that's a bit of something to keep an eye on. But anyway, there we are. So sorry, the lens is a bit, maybe I should have been further back, but anyway, you see what's going on. I'll keep you posted. Cheers for now. Okay, so welcome to part 2 of the panniers reshaping of. So let's get one out. It's been about a week now since I wetted them down. For those who didn't watch part 1, I've filled them up with water from the hose pipe and just kept pouring it in there for about 10 minutes until the leather started to soften like your shoes do when they get wet, and then jammed in as much, it's open now already because I was looking at it last night, and jammed in as much bubble wrap as I possibly could. It's all forced down into the corners, and you can see it's done a pretty nice job of reshaping the sides, which had some serious wrinkles and saggage. What I'll do now is pull all this out, which is not such a good I've got my iPad on today, so it's a bit different lens perspective, so let's just start dragging this out. I didn't want to leave it until longer than about a week, because I'm a little bit concerned, hang on a second, I'm a little bit concerned about them going mouldy inside. So let's just get some heave-ho here. Okay, so you can see they've had a bit of a wash, they're nice and clean inside, and the leather itself is looking a little bit brown where it could do with some TLC. So let's take that back in. Sorry, this is not a very good picture wise, not a very good video, because I think this iPad isn't going to work for future use. So there we are, that's what it's looking like at the moment, holding its shape nicely. The leather has stiffened up again, now it's dried out and it hasn't gone mouldy inside. I could have put a modicum of bleach in there or something just to make sure it didn't go off, but it's nice and dry now. So what I'm going to do is, having dragged out my shoe box, let's have a look here. So dubbing grease, that's let's have a look. Nourishes the leather, leaves a slightly greasy feel for rugby, hiking, golf and heavy work boots, etc. No, don't really want a slightly greasy feel. or maybe some of this beeswax, that might be an idea, but I think I'm probably going to go for dubbing, which is another waterproofing thing but with a dye in. And I don't think that leaves it smeary. I'm going to try something with a bit of colour in it, I think, or maybe Parade Gloss or waterproof. There we are, look, wet proof. That's probably what I go for, wet proof. So it's a waterproofing polish, which will bring back some of the colour and give it a bit of shine and help to weatherproof it. So, back in a moment. Welcome to Reshaping the Panniers Part 2. You can see, for those that didn't watch Part 1, what I've done is filled the panniers with water from the hose pipe and soaked them as much as I could for about 10 minutes, quarter of an hour, until the leather started to soften. And I've then jammed as much bubble wrap in as possible. Let's see if I can undo this. It's been about a week ago. I don't want to leave it longer than that for fear of them going mouldy, and I've just jammed them full of bubble wrap, and they're now, you can see the leather has gone nice and hard again where it's soft, it's drying out rather. So if I pull all this out, so you can see the bubble wrap from the other thing. You don't want to see them both at once. And yeah, they've dried nicely. There are some rust stains in, but they've had a good wash out. What I'm intending to do now is I should do something with the leather, which you can see is slightly brown and looking a bit faded, but it's holding its shape well. I'm pleased with that. That was time well spent. So no special things, just practical experience from what happens to your footwear when you go out in the rain and get it wet. So you can see they're now holding much better than they were. They've still got a little bit of, as you can see, a little bit here, but the basic shape, they've got the width there holding nicely. And now the next thing to do is spend a couple of hours or however long it takes with a good generous application of shoe polish to nourish the leather a bit and give it back some colour. There's the other one, which is holding shape nicely. That's nice and clean inside. That didn't have a rust stain. I don't know what the previous owner had done, but hey ho. But you can see they're holding their shape nicely and they're nice and firm. I've got here, been having a look through my shoe polish. I've got natural beeswax here. That's not a colour. That's not coloured, and grease is another option in the UK. But it does leave a, as it says here, nourishes leather, forming a slightly greasy protective film. Keeps the leather soft and supple, ideal for rugby, football, hiking, so on and so forth. Well, I don't think we want a slightly greasy feel. Probably go for maybe dubbing, but with the dye in it to give it the colour. I've got Parade Gloss, standard shoe polish. I think I've got some wet proof somewhere, but I can't see the tin. This is what I had in mind. Oh, I've put it out. There we go. Already saw it earlier on. So, I think I'll use this. Waterproofs and protects, and it's got a black dye in it for black shoes. So, next thing is a shoe brush and systematic going over with generous quantities. So we'll come back to you in a moment because you don't need to see me doing that. Okay, so unfortunately I've rather irritatingly lost or misplaced my little camera stand, so I'm afraid you're now precariously wedged on the window ledge. So this is a test video to see if you can actually see things. So I shall work here. Right, let's put you back up there again. I noticed I had to get my head chopped off just now, so we'll have to watch that and keep further away. So, as I said earlier on, what I've decided is to try this Kiwi Sport wet proof. Hopefully it's basically a shoe polish and a waterproofer. There's not much left in the tin, as you can see, so we'll see how far it goes. And what I intend to do is just give it a good watch and a scrub on like you would with shoes and things. You can see it's rather old and shrunk away from the side of the tin, so maybe that's not a good thing, but hey, let's have a look. Oh dear, no, that's a bit not sure that's going to be any good. I think it's probably too old. Trouble is, I think my brush is yeah, no, I'm not liking that. Okay, we're going to sack that one. Okay, this one is, let's have another go. This one is the dubbing, which is a waterproofing grease but with a black dye in it. Well, that's a different type of stuff. That's a grease rather than a polish. Give it a quick test piece. Try and force it out nicely to get in all the corners. Right. So you can't really see in this light. It's better than it was, but it's not nice and black. It is a bit smeary from the polish. What the heck? These people with the money, eh? It looks better, but it's not nice enough, I think, and you can see the old stuff was crumbling, the other polish I tried. So I'm going to stop this now and go to the shops and get some new stuff with the proper waxing grease in it, so it feeds the leather more. Okay, catch you later. Okay, so here we are. Given everything a rub up. I couldn't get any wet proof at the local shop, so I used standard shoe polish in the UK anyway. The chrome will polish up a bit more, it's got polish on it still, but you can see it's given it a new blackness as you'd expect from polishing shoes or leather. And I would call that a success. Look, that looks quite nice overall, has a good sheen to it. Blackened in the straps again because they, laid it on quite thick because they were going quite brown. And you can see overall it looks like it should. What I will do at some point is I'll go over with some of that, maybe some of the greasy leather fat to feed the leather a bit, give it a bit more life, less likely to tear, because it is. You can see here. Don't know if I get that. There we are. Look, you see. It's gone a little bit brittle there where it hasn't been polished at all, and I think to start working on it with some feed will make it more supple and less likely to damage further. So there we are. Hope you enjoyed that. I'll put it back on the bike and or them back on the bike rather, and show you a picture of it finished. Cheers for now. So finally, the last thing I did was wait for a few days for the polish to soak in. And then I used some leather fat, which is it lubricates the leather and feeds it, soaks it in a bit, and it stopped some of the shrinkage here. It's not as bad as it was, and you can see there's a nice shine to it. Although it says it leaves a greasy finish, it's actually not greasy at all. So quite pleased with that overall. I think that should give it a new lease of life, and I will regularly polish the panniers from now on. So that tidies that up nicely, and the next video will be when I get round to it. I have this, which is unboxing of, as you can see, it's a toolbox for the heritages and chrome plated bracket. I have got a toolbox but not the bracket, and I can't seem to get a right hand one on its own. So here's a bag of bits which I'll investigate, and a nice shiny bracket which will, for those in the know, will go on here somewhere. Oh, let's have a look. I don't know if this lens is going to be any good. It's a bit too close up, isn't it? But and I still haven't found my bracket for the light stand for the camera. So that fits on there, and then that goes on there. Yeah. Okay. So the top of the bracket fits on this chrome plated part. Those two bolts there, and then the bottom seems to naturally line up there. Look, with the footrest. So that should tosh in there quite nicely, and then it gives you your 3 mounting points for the toolbox. So looking forward to that, but that'll be next time. Anyway, take care, catch you in the next video.